Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Shumendu Ghosh, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Modi addresses PM SVANidhi beneficiaries, distributes loans under scheme to 1 lakh street vendors. Bhutanese Prime Minister sharing Topge on a 5-day official visit to India to hold bilateral talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Russia bans 227 US citizens from entering the country, including US State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller, ban in view of Russophobic actions and statements. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended PM SVANidhi program at Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium in New Delhi on Thursday. During the event, Prime Minister also laid the foundation stones of 2 additional corridors of Delhi Metro's 4th phase. He also distributed loans under PM SVANidhi scheme to 1 lakh street vendors, including 5,000 street vendors from Delhi. In his address, Prime Minister Modi underscored his commitment to serve the lower rung and disadvantaged group of the society.
आपका ये सेवक गरीबी से निकलकर यहां पहुंचा है। मैं गरीबी को जी करके आया हूं और इसलिए जिसको किसी ने नहीं पूछा, उन्हें मोदी ने पूछा भी है और मोदी ने पूजा भी है। जिनके पास गारंटी देने के लिए कुछ नहीं था, तो मोदी ने कह दिया था बैंकों से भी और रेडी पटरी वाले भाई बहन को भी, अगर आपके पास गारंटी देने के लिए कुछ नहीं है तो चिंता मत कर दीजिए, मोदी आपकी गारंटी लेता है।
In other stories, India's Home Minister Amit Shah has sought to dispel misunderstandings and uncertainties over government's decision to implement the Citizenship Amendment Act. In a candid interview, Shah addresses several key elements of the law and effectively quells apprehension about the decision.
Following the notification of the Citizenship Amendment Act, or the CAA, India's Home Minister Amit Shah sought to dispel any apprehensions regarding the act. In a candid interview to an Indian news agency, Amit Shah asserted that the act will never be taken back.
सीए का कानून कभी वापस नहीं जाएगा और भारत की नागरिकता सुनिश्चित करना ये भारत का विषय है, भारत की संप्रभुता का निर्णय है। इसके साथ हम कोई कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं कर सकते।
Shah further said that the act seeks to offer refuge to persecuted religious minorities from neighboring countries. He categorically made it clear once again that CAA does not impact the citizenship status of the Indian Muslims.
अखंड भारत के जो लोग हिस्सा थे और जिन पर धार्मिक प्रताड़ना हुई है, उसको शरण देना मैं मानता हूं हमारी नैतिक जिम्मेदारी है और हमारी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी। जब विभाजन हुआ तब पाकिस्तान में 23% हिंदू थे, हिंदू और सिख थे। आज 3.7% बच गए। कहां गए सारे? 1951 में हिंदुओं का प्रतिशत 22% था। मैं 51 की बात कर रहा हूं। बांग्लादेश की 51 के आंकड़े हमारे पास है। 2011 की जनगणना में वो 10% रह गए। कहां गए वो लोग? अफगानिस्तान 1992 के पूर्व, मैं 92 के आंकड़े मेरे पास लगभग 2 लाख सिख और हिंदू थे और आज करीब 500 बच गए।
He also sought to quell the concerns surrounding the violation of Article 14 of the Indian Constitution.
जहां तक असंवैधानिक होने का सवाल है, वो अनुच्छेद 14 का हवाला देते हैं। वो भूल जाते हैं कि अनुच्छेद 14 में 2 अपवाद रखे हुए हैं। एक रीजनेबल क्लासिफिकेशन का अपवाद है और दूसरा कानून के उद्देश्यों के साथ लॉजिकल संबंध होना चाहिए। तो वो आर्टिकल 14 का वायोलेशन नहीं करता है।
Amit Shah gave assurance to the minorities that there is no need to fear as there is no provision in the CAA to take away anyone's citizenship.
इस देश के अल्पसंख्यक माइनॉरिटीज या तो किसी और व्यक्ति को डरने की जरूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि CAA में किसी की नागरिकता लेने का प्रावधान ही नहीं है। CAA सिर्फ और सिर्फ 3 देश अफगानिस्तान, पाकिस्तान और बांग्लादेश से हिंदू, सिख, बौद्ध, क्रिश्चियन और पारसी, जो जैन और पारसी शरणार्थी आए हैं, इनको उनका अधिकार देने का कानून है, नागरिकता देने का कानून है, जिससे इनके जीवन की वेदनाओं को हम कम कर पाए।
The act has attracted unjustifiable and unreasonable criticism from the international media.
फॉरेन मीडिया को पूछे उनके देश में ट्रिपल तलाक है क्या, उनके देश में मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ है क्या, उनके देश में एक भी स्टेट में 370 जैसा प्रोविजन है क्या। आप इस लॉ को आइसोलेशन में नहीं दे सकते। इस देश का एक इतिहास है। इस देश का विभाजन धर्म के आधार पर होना ही नहीं चाहिए था।
The act, which came into effect since Monday, will give citizenship to persecuted Hindus, Jains, Sikhs, Buddhists and Christians who were living as refugees in India. The government of India has launched an online portal where these people can apply for Indian citizenship. The Indian government will soon launch a mobile application that will make the process easier. Rishabh Sharma's report for DD India.
A high-level committee on Thursday submitted its report on One Nation, One Election to President Draupadi Murmu in New Delhi. The committee was formed to draw a roadmap for holding simultaneous elections at the state and centre level in India. Former Indian President Ram Nath Kovind, along with Union Minister Amit Shah and Arjun Ram Meghwal and others, submitted the report on Thursday. The report, comprising 18,626 pages, is outcome of extensive consultations with the stakeholders, experts and research of 191 days since its constitution on September 2023. The committee has recommended a concrete model for One Nation, One Election. It is reported to have deliberated on a number of options for ensuring continuity of simultaneous elections. Bhutanese Prime Minister Tshering Tobgay arrived in New Delhi on Thursday for a 5-day official visit to India at the invitation of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This is his first overseas visit after assuming office in January of 2024. During the visit, Prime Minister of Bhutan will call on India's President Draupadi Murmu and will also hold bilateral talks with Prime Minister Modi. India's External Affairs Minister and other Indian dignitaries will call on visiting dignitary. The visit of Bhutanese Prime Minister will provide an opportunity for the two sides to review the progress in the partnership. Earlier today, National President of India's ruling party BJP, JP Nadda, met with Prime Minister of Bhutan, Tshering Tobgay, in New Delhi. The governments of India and Singapore have signed a memorandum of understanding on cooperation between the two countries in the sphere of law dispute resolution on Thursday. The MOU is on further cooperation between the two countries on matters of international commercial dispute resolution and promotion of robust alternative dispute resolution mechanisms. MOU includes establishment of Joint Consultative Committee to oversee the implementation of Memorandum of Understanding. The MOU also focuses on exchange of best practices in the sphere of law and dispute resolution. India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar met journalists from 13 Central and Eastern European countries on Thursday. Dr. Jaishankar shared his thoughts on global geopolitics and its impact on the region, as well as India's concerns and aspirations with the journalists in the meeting. Delhi Airport has achieved a significant milestone by transshipping over 80 lakh kgs of Bangladeshi cargo to international destinations in the last 1 year. This achievement not only cements Delhi Airport's status as the foremost cargo hub in Southeast Asia, but also catalyzes favorable domino effect throughout the aviation industry. The transshipment facility for Bangladeshi cargo first began on February 26, 2023, paving the way for a faster and cost-effective route of shipping export cargo internationally. Since then, Delhi Airport has helped transship over 80 lakh kilograms of ready-made garments to European nations, including Spain, Netherlands and France. European Union is the second largest export destination for Bangladeshi apparel, followed by the UK and Canada. The Office of Principal Scientific Advisor, Government of India, has released an in-depth report documenting India's advancements in science, technology and innovation in the last decade. The report provides a panoramic view of stakeholders, remarkable progress and transformative initiatives. The insights presented in this comprehensive report poised to shape policies and investments that further accelerate India's tech growth. Addressing the stakeholders of science and technology ecosystem, India's Minister of Science and Technology, Jitendra Singh, said the progress made over the last 10 years in the realm of science and tech will help in realizing the vision of making India for next 10 years as Tech 8.
For the first time after independence, it gave a sense of esteem to the science and the scientists, which possibly had not happened earlier. It is under this government, this has been lifted. And see what has happened. You have drone Didis. Did you ever think? You only had drone IITians. Today you have drone Didi. And this journey has also happened only in the last 2 years. So what I'm trying to say is that everything was there. The difference is that new vistas were not opened up, or those which were already existed were also shut down. And I think one of the biggest achievements ultimately is that through the medium of science, not only we have assumed leadership at the world arena, but in some ways we have also moved ahead of others. Of course, Chandrayaan is one example. In the G20, when we had a global bio-alliance, so we are now even ready to take the leadership role, because the world is looking up to us. It's now up to us whether we can do that. But we have started actually making it evident.
Amid the ongoing Israel-Gaza conflict, Israeli lawmakers on Wednesday gave their final approval to an amended 2024 state budget to fund its operations against Gaza. Parliament members voted in favor of the spending package of about $160 billion. Additionally, Israel has announced that it will try to flood Gaza with humanitarian aid from a variety of entry points. More in this report.
Continuing its operation in Gaza, Israeli lawmakers on Wednesday gave their final approval to an amended 2024 state budget to fund Israel's operations against Gaza. Parliament members voted in favor of the spending package of $160 billion. The plan also includes higher allocations for health, education, police and welfare.
Knesset has approved a good budget by a solid majority. Not a budget we liked from the beginning. We didn't want this war. But under the circumstances, it is a good budget with 4 goals. Support the war efforts until victory. With God's help, care for our reservists who are at the center of this budget.
However, Israel has announced that it will try to flood Gaza with humanitarian aid from a variety of entry points, but they will ensure that aid coming in by sea will benefit the Palestinian civilians in Gaza and not Hamas.
The humanitarian issue that will soon be on the agenda surrounded the expected arrivals of vessels is a central issue in order to allow supply to the civilians and not to Hamas. Any such act weakens Hamas, strengthens our grip and allows us to turn the ball on Hamas' head. We will continue to do so because it allows us operationally to complete our mission.
On the international side, US said that the Israeli government has a responsibility and obligation to ensure the job of humanitarian agencies working in Gaza.
The Israeli military, the Israeli government have a responsibility and an obligation to do everything possible to ensure that the humanitarians can do their jobs. And among other things, that means making sure that if there's a humanitarian facility that's clearly identified, it's not struck. It means making sure that if there's a supply mission, a convoy, trucks going to a particular place at a particular time, that the Israeli military does everything possible to ensure its secure passage.
Aid continues to arrive in Gaza. Germany Air Force started operation to supply aid to people in Gaza. A first Bundeswehr German Army aircraft took off from Everieux, France to Jordan. US too airdropped aid over Gaza. Meanwhile, Israel conducted airstrikes on Hamas unit and eliminated Hamas commander Mohammed Abu Hasna, who was involved in taking control of humanitarian aid and distributing it to Hamas operatives.
And we're heading into a short break. Still to come on this edition of TT India Live. Nigeria kidnappings ruin families, keep children out of school as kidnappers demand $620,000 for the school students' release. Russian President Putin asks voters, including those in annexed regions of Ukraine, to unite in shaping Russia's future. World remembers the genius of Nobel laureate Albert Einstein on his birth anniversary.
सोचिए अगर असल जिंदगी में ऐसी हालत हो तो कितनी मुश्किलें होती हैं, लेकिन शुक्र है बैंकिंग के लिए नहीं। अगर आपकी उम्र 70 साल से अधिक हो या आप दिव्यांग हो तो बैंक आपको कुछ जरूरी बैंकिंग सुविधाएं घर बैठे बैठे दे सकता है। आरबीआई कहता है जानकार बनिए, सतर्क रहिए।
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. The Ministry of Information and Broadcasting has taken action in coordination with various intermediaries to block around 18 OTT platforms publishing obscene, vulgar, and in some instances, pornographic content. 19 websites, 10 apps, 7 on Google Play Store, 3 on Apple App Store, and 57 social media accounts associated with these platforms have been disabled for public access in India. Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting, Anurag Singh Thakur, repeatedly emphasized the responsibility of the platforms to not propagate obscenity, vulgarity, and abuse under the guise of creative expression. On 12th March this year, Thakur announced that 18 OTT platforms publishing obscene and vulgar content have been taken down. The recent decision was taken under provisions of Information Technology Act 2000. One of the OTT apps amassed more than 1 crore downloads, while 2 others had over 50 lakh downloads on Google Play Store. Bangladeshi legendary Rabindra Sangeet singer Sadi Muhammad passed away on Wednesday evening. 70-year-old singer was mentally unfit after his mother's death last year. Sadi served as the director of cultural organization Rabi Rag. His death has cast a grim shadow in Bangladesh's cultural sphere. The United Nations is withdrawing non-essential personnel from Haiti amid rising gang violence in the crisis-plagued Caribbean nation. Since 29 February, multiple armed gangs in Haiti have launched attacks on public facilities in the capital Port-au-Prince, including police stations and the international airport. Haiti is in the grip of a government crisis following resignation of interim Prime Minister Ariel Henry. The gunmen who kidnapped 286 students and staff from a school in northern Nigeria last week have demanded a total of 1 billion naira, that's equivalent to about $620,000, for their release. A spokesperson for the families of the hostages and a local councillor informed DD India's correspondent Ajak Mangat gets us more from Abuja.
According to a spokesman for the families of the hostages and a local councillor, the kidnappers contacted the families through his phone to demand the ransom on Tuesday. He said the kidnappers have given an ultimatum for the ransom to be paid within 20 days, starting from the day the call was made. The kidnappers threatened to kill all the students if their demand was not met. But Nigeria's president has said no dime will be paid to rescue the hostages or other kidnapped victims. Instead, he directed security agencies to ensure the release of all kidnapped victims without any payment to the kidnappers. Last week, the governor of Kaduna State assured parents that the government was working to secure the safe release of their children. Nigeria has seen a rise in cases of kidnappings in recent weeks, which security experts have attributed to the current economic crisis. At least 50 women and children were kidnapped barely 24 hours before the Kuriga incident. Gunmen known as bandits have been attacking villages, killing and kidnapping people for ransom. The country has a law against payment of ransom to kidnappers, but according to the intelligence agency SBM, nearly $400,000 was paid by families between July 2022 and June 2023 to rescue their loved ones. Experts warn that unless the government addresses current economic challenges, things could get worse. Ajak Mangut in Abuja, reporting for DD India.
In response to a request from China, Taiwan deployed Coast Guard vessels on Thursday to assist in a rescue operation near Taiwan-controlled Kinmen Islands. Amid increased tensions in the sensitive Taiwan Strait, both sides dispatched rescue boats after a Chinese fishing vessel capsized early in the day. According to Taiwan's Coast Guard, 2 bodies were retrieved, 2 were missing and 2 were rescued. Taiwan contributed 4 Coast Guard vessels, while China sent 6 for the joint rescue efforts. Russian President Vladimir Putin urged voters on Thursday, including those in annexed regions of Ukraine, to unite in shaping Russia's future by participating in the week's presidential elections, where he is widely expected to secure victory.
You're not only to cast your vote, but to firmly declare your will and aspiration, your personal involvement in Russia's further development, because the election is a step into the future. It is vital to underscore our cohesion and resolve and move forward together. Every vote you cast is valued and meaningful. Therefore, I urge you to exercise your right to vote.
March 14 marks the birth anniversary of the great physicist and Nobel laureate Albert Einstein. Einstein was born in 1876, and by 1905 he had worked out some of the most path-breaking research in the field of physics that changed the way for the world viewing the subject. His equations help us to understand the universe, space, time, gravity, and to accurately count atoms. They literally illuminate our lives and are applied to fields across science. That's all for this edition of DD India Live. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.